Go, 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 USA, go. Thank you all for tuning into the other football this afternoon on WNYU.org. Today I'm joined by, as always, my good buddy Rohtas Wadera. He's not actually here right now. He's in the other studio just grabbing another set of headphones. He'll be with us shortly. But thank you everyone for tuning in today. We're back on WNYU.org. We had been on FM for a month. The Cheap Seats let us take over their slot on Mondays. We are forever grateful for them for it, and we will gladly take over anytime they want to dip out to Florida again and have some vacation time. But WNYU's only English Premier League football show is back on WNYU.org. I'm very happy to say so. So we'll be coming to you live every weekend on Sundays from 4:30 to 5 until the end of the Premier League season, I guess, and then we'll reevaluate. Rohtas, are we here yet? Rohtas! He's made it into the studio. Thank you. Thank you, Rohtas. Get all hooked up, man. We have so much to talk about on the show today. You actually made quite a discovery, though, didn't you?
I did.
You're almost up there. Come on, Rohtas. Come on, plug in, Rohtas. Plug in, plug in. See, this is what happens when equipment is scattered all throughout the studio.
Seriously.
Are you in? Yeah? You in?
I'm in.
You're in? You're in! He's in! He's in! All right, thank you, Rohtas. So, Rohtas.
Yes.
All right.
All right, we're good to go. It took us 2.5 minutes. All right, we got it. Okay, so, yeah, I actually got the chance to rewatch the Peaky Blinders.
The Peaky Blinders?
Yes, I got a chance to watch their episode, the first episode, and I discovered we were thinking about which club they were with. Was it Aston Villa, Birmingham City? Turns out it is Birmingham City because the ground that they play at was St. Andrews, which they referred to in the episode, and they also referred to them as the Blues, which obviously means Birmingham City, not Aston Villa.
Not Aston Villa.
Right, correct.
Okay.
And
That's
they're
incredible.
in the championship. They're in the
Actually,
championship.
Rohtas, come speak into my mic because for whatever reason, that is just not on. Dude.
It's not on.
Yeah, come over here, Rohtas. We'll do a group show today.
Okay.
We're on one mic. This is what happens when you technical difficulties. We gotta band together, guys. Come on, Rohtas, get close. Everyone, one mic today. One mic for WNYU. All right. So I'm glad to know that the Peaky Blinders are good supporters of Birmingham City FC.
Right.
We all know are 11th in the championship right now.
Yes.
Okay, so they're not even a Premier League side, but we know that Aston Villa is not with the Peaky Blinders. They're not with the Peaky Blinders.
Right.
Birmingham City is. So for any Peaky Blinders fans out there on Netflix, if you watch the show, if you love the show, and all of a sudden you want to get into soccer, start following Birmingham City FC.
Right.
They might come up, in a few what years maybe. Maybe. Thank you, Rohtas. Anyway, now that we've addressed the Peaky Blinders situation, let's get on to
a lot to get to.
Let's get on to the actual EPL matters at hand. Harry Kane this weekend. What is going on?
All right.
He's gone in and actually beaten Arsenal at home single-handedly. He scored 2 goals. Spurs scored kind of an upset victory over Southampton. Over Arsenal this weekend thanks to Harry Kane's 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Rohtas, is Harry Kane good?
I
good?
really think, it's so tough because it's such a small sample size to go with going into this season. He's been, for this half of the season, he's basically looked pretty darn good. But it's really just amazing just watching him. He really does everything so well. There's not really a weakness to his game. He's great on the ball, has a great first touch. He's not the biggest guy. We mentioned that's probably his weakness. He's not necessarily very strong, but he's had that killer instinct in front of goal all season. 22 goals in all competitions, 9 goals in his last 9 games. Really starting to look good. And I can't think of a time where a big-time signing has come in like Roberto Soldado, and he basically cannot see the pitch because of Harry Kane and the way that he's been playing.
Neither can Emmanuel Adebayor. These are 2 strikers who at one point, these are 2 strikers who have cost over 50, 60 million quid between all the clubs they've been transferred to. These are big names in international football. And Harry Kane has the central striker spot at Tottenham. He's just took it away from them.
He's 21 years old.
Really?
He's our age.
Wow. And like you said, he's not that big either. He scored on those 2 headers, but that's really due to his natural instinct and positioning, if anything. He's not big. He's only 6 foot tall. I believe he's like 145 pounds. So, he's like, I weigh more than him, actually. That's crazy to think about. I ate way too much in college, man. But I weigh more than Harry Kane. I might be able to tackle Harry Kane in a full-on running contest, right? If we collided. So that's possible. But he's just out here scoring against Premier League center backs like it's nothing. He's third in the EPL at goals per game.
Wow.
Behind Sergio Aguero and who's it? Sergio Aguero and Diego Costa, of course.
Right.
The only two, better strikers than Harry Kane apparently right now in the Premiership.
Yeah, I mean, he's just absolutely feeling his football at the moment, and
he's scoring in Europe as well. I think in 6 Europa League matches, he's got something like 5 goals. So he's doing it in all competitions.
Right. We talked about Arsenal and how good they looked. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about how good they looked against Aston Villa the week before.
Right.
A 5-0 resounding win, and they looked so good. They didn't have Alexis Sanchez for this, that torn hamstring.
Yeah, he might be out for about, I think reports said he might be out for about a month. I think they're taking it week by week with him. But that a hamstring injury for a striker, ask Fernando Torres how those are.
Right, exactly. It's almost
ask Daniel Sturridge how those are.
Right.
I mean, your hamstrings are your livelihood as a striker.
Absolutely.
So that's hurtful to hear for Arsenal fans, because I thought Sanchez would be able to take them all the way to the top 3, top 4.
Right. And you think this is a game that they probably shouldn't have lost if you're Arsenal, I think. Oh, no. I
mean, just to lose that momentum from they say there's nothing, momentum isn't a real thing in football, where, they've done statistical studies and they can't really show any momentum going from one game to the next. But when you beat Aston Villa, you put 5 goals past them in 1 week, and you go on the road, you go across town to Tottenham.
It's a derby game, and they just didn't have it today.
Or not today, was it?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And it's incredible because, again, we've talked about the talent level. The goal that they scored looked great. I mean, obviously, they're going to create a ton of chances with the style of football that they play.
As always, yeah.
It's incredible how this team, you just can't put a finger on why these guys can't do it week in and week out.
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if you had the answer to that, I'm sure Arsene Wenger would have been like, he would have sold his soul to you 10 years ago, and Arsenal would be fine. But this has been another characteristically nice Arsenal style season. And the fact that Alexis Sanchez now might miss more time. I mean, Giroud will have to step up. Maybe Danny Welbeck will have to contribute more. It feels like they have the depth to maybe make up for him in some ways, but I mean, Sanchez really was a one-man team for them for a lot of the season, just carrying them on his back with his dribbling and his creation.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to leave it at there with Arsenal. Disappointing weekend for them. But I will say that Harry Kane. Oh, you're leaning in for a kiss because we're hugging around the mic right now. Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, I know this mic is very strange.
I like the more intimate setting. I think it's appropriate.
This is I'll never be this close to you face to face for this amount of time ever again. So I do appreciate this.
Right.
Let's really savor this moment in front of this one mic. But I want to leave Spurs and Arsenal on this one note. I think Harry Kane is the White Devil. I think he's the White Devil.
What?
He has
the way
come
he
in.
looks, or is it his hair, or what is it?
Daniel Sturridge. He's England's number 9. Ooh, we all know he is.
Harry Kane is coming, lad.
He's Jesus. Daniel Sturridge is the truth.
Did you just call him Jesus?
Yeah, Daniel Sturridge is Jesus.
He's Jesus reincarnated.
Yes, Daniel Sturridge.
Okay.
Daniel Sturridge. But he's out here. He's England's number 9.
So he's trying to
He's been injured.
He's trying to crucify Harry Kane is what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is
him from excommunicate, like he's done.
What I'm saying is Harry Kane is coming for Daniel Sturridge's spot as England's number 9.
Yes,
that is what I'm saying right now.
And that
is a very real threat.
With Roy Hodgson in attendance at White Hart Lane.
Roy Hodgson,
he knew he was there.
Roy Hodgson's wrinkly, pruned, gross
would never pick Harry Kane.
No, of course he would pick Harry Kane.
Never pick Harry.
This is the man who started Andy Carroll in the Euros.
He would pick him. He would pick him, and then he wouldn't play him.
Wait, so
just like he did with like half the England squad at the World Cup that we talked about.
If Harry Kane gets to what's he on 12 Premier League goals right now? If he gets to 20 Premier League goals at the end of the season, he will be starting for England this summer somewhere
in the friendlies. I mean, Euro's coming up. The European Championships. He'd make He's going to be starting in the European Championship.
This is my long-term watch to do for English strikers now, because if you think about Euros, if we want to get this far ahead,
I mean, it's the summer.
Yeah,
it's coming up. We only got the second half of the year, right?
Well, Harry Kane, will he start over Daniel Sturridge? No.
I don't think so.
I beg to differ. Watch it. Roy Hodgson.
You're calling it?
Roy Hodgson is going to pull some BS.
Like,
He's going to pull some BS and start Harry Kane.
You were just being you're thinking worst case scenario because you just feel that your boy DS is going to get slighted.
I
don't think that's going to happen.
Been slighted his entire career, man. He's been slighted by football men who think they know better than they do. His entire career.
DS is going to start.
Harry Kane comes up here.
Kane will be the perfect super sub, I believe. No,
Harry Kane's coming to town with his lad haircut. Okay, sharp blonde. Do you know? So you've read parts of Soccernomics. Old football men love blondes.
Right.
It's true. It's one of the principles of Soccernomics. They love, especially Scandinavian players, they love blondes. And you have Harry Kane, 6 foot tall, blonde, handsome Englishman from London, Arsenal supporter growing up.
So I don't know if we want to go in this direction. You're saying it's the fact that he's blonde, not the fact that. So you're saying because if Diaz had blonde hair, he would be. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not trying to say because Daniel Sturridge is black, he's not going to be starting over Harry Kane. I'm just saying that Harry Kane is the kind of player that Roy Hodgson would prefer facially, like in terms of like his
facial structure because he's aesthetically more pleasing.
Yes.
So you're saying
it gets that weird.
I thought you meant like DS is your guy. Like he's the most stylish.
He's
the guy.
Daniel Sturridge is the style god, but Harry Kane just looks like. I feel like I can't put my finger on Harry Kane yet. I'm gonna have to come back to Harry Kane,
right?
Because I do feel like he's gonna be starting over Sturridge in Euros because he's a tall, handsome, blonde lad. But we'll see. I do feel like Roy Hodgson could pick him.
Incredible.
Hodgson would love a natural on the ball. Somebody who just can get in there. He has his nose for it.
He does.
We'll see. But that's enough about Harry Kane. We've already spent what?
Yeah, we had a late start.
We did have a late start. We apologize for the late start, ladies and gentlemen. It took us a while to get settled in the studio, but we're gonna roar on right now on the next topic. Yes. The Merseyside Derby. It was Derby weekend in the Premier League.
It was.
We have the North London Derby, and then we had the Merseyside Derby. Merseyside Derby was was pretty disappointing.
I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it.
I'm kind of
you went to the bar, watch it. I went to
11th Street.
I'm gonna get up. It's gonna be on NBC. Like I'll watch it, and then I was following the GameCast. And by the time it got to about the 50th minute, and I saw 0-0, I was like, "There's no need for me to turn this game on. It's gonna stay that way for the rest of the game." Despite the fact that you saw the stats, I didn't even have to watch the game to know that Liverpool dominated the game.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't score. Which is why. How is that happening?
All right, so you could say Liverpool dominated the game, and after the match, Brendan Rodgers gave a pretty glowing post-match presser. He was like, we were outstanding in our football today. We created chances. We just didn't have the wee bit of luck and the final ball that you need in these situations. And he's also quick to point out that Everton didn't have their first shot on goal or at all, I think, until like the 86th minute of the match.
Wow.
So Liverpool were cut the game off in that way, but that doesn't make me happy. I don't care that Everton didn't have a shot until the first 86 minutes in the match. It was a 0-0 draw. Everton suck.
That's the kind of year that Everton's having, and
Brendan Rodgers got himself in the good graces of everyone, collectively around Liverpool for eventually making the changes he needed to make to get Liverpool back on track and get them playing, an attacking direct style football that we had been accustomed to. Really great attack. But I think he needs to take some whippings right now, based on
wow.
Well, he does because he hasn't rotated the squad properly. We had a match last weekend, and then we had to play. I say we, but Liverpool had to play Bolton midweek in the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't rotate anyone. Lucas and Gerrard were the new guys to get introduced to that game, but we all know Lucas is injured now. So you had basically everyone playing last weekend, then midweek, and then you had the game yesterday. That's 3 games over the span of a week, with very, very little squad rotation coming in or out. Jordan Ibe got introduced. Daniel Sturridge is back now. But he started the same lineup, against Bolton basically that he threw out against Everton, and now they have to play Spurs on Tuesday.
Yeah, so little to no rest.
Liverpool FC need a Champions League place. Brendan Rodgers FC needs, and Dan Kennett said this perfectly on Twitter. Brendan Rodgers needs a trophy on his CV. At this point in his career, he needs another trophy on his resume. He's going for the FA Cup. He's going for Europa. And if he goes for those competitions, Liverpool might be, having to play 50, 60 games this year. I don't think they have the squad depth to compete at that level. I don't think he has the confidence in the squad to compete at that level. And I think the fact that he's choosing cup competitions and hurting us in the league is something that Liverpool are going to look back on potentially in June and be like, well, crap, why did we do that?
Yeah, it's so tough when you don't rotate and give other guys an opportunity. And I don't know. I just think for Liverpool, I think they'll be okay. It's just going to make for a tough matchup against a hot Spurs team.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that, but they have Spurs on Tuesday, and I think next weekend they have Southampton. Within the coming month, we have United and City. Arsenal isn't that far away. So
for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, I mean,
this month.
This month, I think Liverpool have 7 fixtures, including
make it or break it time. Yeah, so
yeah.
A lot of fixtures. Their fitness is going to be brought into question, but expect.
I think February is when we're going to see the top 4 really, really shake out. Because
it's about time.
February and March is when the horses make their final. They get whipped one more time,
right, because
the home stretch.
Yeah, right. Other than the top 2, normally by this time of year it's almost been set as to who is going to compete. But this year it seems like there's going to be 3 or 4 teams that sit in that 4 to 6 spot range and will fight it out, and it's going to be extremely, extremely interesting.
I mean, we only have
Manchester United had a
14 point. We only have 14 games left,
right?
And the top 4 is separated by I think between Liverpool and top 4 is 5 points, and between that you have all those teams. So
we had a chance. United had a chance to jump Southampton and
they did
pull within 3 points of City, but it was City. I think that's the more important game that we had from this weekend. The top 2 and Chelsea extending their lead to 7 points. Although, we talked about Steve Bruce and their lack of luck, the fact that they could not hold on. They needed that win desperately today. James Milner and his free kick goal, that might be potentially a season-saving type goal, because to me, I think if it's a 9-point lead instead of a 7-point lead, I think you could just about wrap this thing up. And
Jose's not letting go of a 9-point lead.
That 9-point lead makes it 3 games. Do we honestly think Chelsea's going to lose 3 more games? But even so,
it's 7 points. That's a 3-game lead.
Now it's 2. It's in between 2 and 3. If it's which means you can have a draw in there. If it's 9 points, they have to lose 3 games.
Yeah, it's not 3 straight wins.
And I don't think Chelsea's losing 3 games the rest of the season. I don't think so. James Milner has really had a phenomenal season when it comes to that workhorse in the midfield, brings that consistent play. It wasn't the winner, but it was the
James Milner. The free kick at the end.
Right, basically it saved
Saved a point.
Saved a point.
Saved a point. Because City absolutely could not afford to lose there. And the shocking thing with City to me is the fact that Hull can even come in and have a point at the Etihad. Because aside from this season, for the past 2 years, if you went to the Etihad and tried to play Man City on their own ground, you were going to lose. They were invincible at home. And they've dropped points at home this season in situations where they cannot. They lost to Stoke at home. They lost to Chelsea. They drew against Hull again. So they've dropped points against teams at home that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, and
those are the kinds of points that they took last year, and that's what propelled them to the title.
And it's so important now that they survived this grace period. Check the score of the African
the
Cup.
We had to leave in the middle of the AFCON game. It was going in
extra time. Yeah, because now depending on it's in the shootout. Did Ghana win the shootout? Oh boy.
This is going on right now while we're on the air.
So, I mean, either now they were able to survive this period without Yaya Toure. Now they're going to get Toure and Wilfred
And
Boney,
Wilfred Boney back.
The most expensive player in African history.
You know, if you had asked me that question at all before we actually Googled it today, I would have been like, no, there's no way Wilfred Boney is the most
and I was
expensive.
like, no, Yaya was at least 20 within the 20 range.
I thought Yaya Toure was like 42 million, but I'm actually dyslexic, so he was worth 24 million. He was sold to Manchester City. So the most expensive African footballers goes. I think the list goes. What was it? Wilfred Boney, Michael Essien, Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba.
Yeah, incredible stuff.
They're actually AFCON is in the 7th round of penalties right now.
Wow, 7th round.
Ghana, Ivory Coast going down right now.
It's just like exactly what you would expect, a 0-0 game that was pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean we watched the full 90 and that was miserable.
Just hoping for something from the African players.
Right. But Rohtas, what's your final say on Manchester City and Chelsea for the week? I don't really know if there's much to add here other than it looks like Chelsea, are just another step for every single point that City drops. Chelsea gets
we're
just one closer.
Yeah, I think it's just I'm excited to see if Wilfred Boney was worth the money, and we're gonna see if he can produce for them.
I really think he thinks he's the next Drogba, man.
He thinks he does.
Similar to Drogba of the last decade. He made a quick come up when he moved to the Premiership, and he got a nice fat contract from an oligarch club that wears blue. That likes to compete in the Champions League and that has ambition for this decade. So I think he sees himself in that mold as the next great African Ivorian striker in the Premiership.
He wants to make his own legacy.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, he's quite a stall in front of him. Jovetic is there. Dzeko's still there. Sergi's still there.
Yeah, and Boney earned his Champions League spot now. Pellegrini decided to drop Jovetic from the squad, interestingly enough. So we're about to see how good Wilfred Boney really is. And I think he's when he's in front of goal, I think he's as good as anybody. But the question is, what else can he bring to the table besides being that guy that needs service?
I mean, we'll see, because a lot of teams in the summer, they were interested in him for £20 million, but nobody wanted to stoop up for the wages. I think he demanded like £100,000 a week in wages. Obviously, Manchester City is one of the only teams that would be willing to go and pay that. So he's going to either prove his money or prove a lot of clubs that passed him in the summer correctly. Right. This. But Rohtas, should we put this to bed and address the real star of the show today?
Yeah, can you believe it?
Should we?
Has he?
All right. So Rohtas, should I ask you? Or do you want to ask?
Has Harry Redknapp been sacked yet?
No, he has not been sacked yet.
He did it again.
But we do. I think this is the first time this has happened.
Believe it.
I know this. I mean, no, Pardew's situation was almost similar, I guess.
Yeah.
But Harry Redknapp, he was on our sacked radar for the longest time. Manager of QPR, Queens Park Rangers, the only team in the Premiership to have yet to win an away match this season. They famously haven't won away. I think since May of 2014. He jumped ship. QPR languishing near the bottom of the table. Harry Redknapp resigned
again because of knee surgery. Literally every reason that you can think of to leave a club without getting fired, Harry Redknapp has successfully now completed. Knee surgery now.
He is the only unsackable manager. He is 67 years old.
How can he get this many pardons for just like getting up and leaving on his own power and merit? I feel like
he's managed Bournemouth, West Ham United, Portsmouth, Southampton, Portsmouth again, Tottenham, and Queens Park Rangers.
It's like if you did it in America, you'd be like Pete Carroll.
He's the Lane Kiffin. He's the Lane Kiffin.
It's incredible.
But he's been managing teams since 1983, and he has yet to get sacked.
Wow.
He's managed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, including one team twice. He's yet to get sacked. He'll resign under his own accord. He'll have bust-ups with ownership. He'll do everything in his power. He'll even just wrangle himself out of a contract. He'll do everything he can to get out of a burning house before it crumbles to the ground. If Harry Redknapp had his entire family over for Boxing Day and the house was set on fire, he would get out first. Everyone in the house might burn, and the whole ship might sink. Everything might go to hell, but Harry Redknapp would get out.
He knows. He knows when to go. It's incredible.
I mean, if I was worried about my house ever burning down, I would want Ari Redknapp in my house because he would, if I was with him, he'd get me out.
He would get you out.
And he's done this before. He left a burning fire at Portsmouth.
Still going after 9 penalties. Incredible.
9 penalties, Jesus.
Wow.
Oh my God. But big shout out to Ari Redknapp just for, generally not being able to get sacked. That's remarkable.
Right,
I think, what was the excuse this time?
Oh,
it was a knee surgery. Knee surgery. He couldn't continue.
Wow.
So that's good all Ari Redknapp. Let's see where's QPR in the form guide. Oh man.
Bottom, second to last. And then the guy that's gonna replace him, the team that's in last place in the form guide, the other Birmingham team.
Aston Villa.
Not looking too good.
Well, they've lost 4 straight matches in a row.
Right, so they finally ended their 11 hours scoring drought this weekend.
Oh my God, I forgot. It took
11 hours. How many minutes is that? 600.
I think it was 659.
Ooh, that is a long time. Didn't Aston Villa fans have literally fans with arrow signs pointing towards the goal? That's comical. That is so comical that they would even have to do that. Essentially,
I think
that tweet that you mentioned was...
and I saw at Sky Sports they made a graphic. I think out of all the top 100 clubs in English professional soccer for this season, Aston Villa ranks 93rd.
Oh no,
in total goals scored.
They have 93rd in total goals scored, and also just in terms of most goals scored in a season. They are in danger of being the lowest scoring club ever by a lot. A lot of those teams, those worst teams that you saw on the list that Justin has, they're all around 20 to 21 goals in terms of most goals scored in a season.
Yeah.
Aston Villa only has 11.
No, they have 12. They have 12 now after the season. That graphic was made before they scored.
Oh my God! So they have 12 goals.
Yeah, we've been through 24 Premier League matches, and Aston Villa have scored 12 goals. If there are any actual Aston Villa fans on the air listening, I'm gonna go home and pour an entire 40 after you. I wish we had one on the show. All right, next week on the show, I'm gonna bring an entire 40, and we'll pour one out for QPR, we'll pour one out for Aston Villa's attack, and we'll pour one out for Roberto Martinez's mind.
And Nigel Pearson in Leicester City, because Nigel Pearson just
we'll also do next week. Here, I'm already planning how much alcohol we're going to drink next week on the show. But next week we'll also take a shot for Chris Ramsey, the new caretaker manager of QPR. Now that Redknapp's departed, he's the only black manager in the Premiership.
It's about time.
They had Gus Poyet last year, but hopefully the English Premier League or the FA gets that Rooney Rule in place so we can have more minority candidates in coaching positions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Paul Lambert is our guy.
Yeah, so we'll be checking every single week on Paul Lambert's job status. Rohtas, we're running out of time here. Do you want to go over the match of the week and First Sports the match of the week?
Ooh, wow. Well, we have the African Cup of Nations still going on. Just to give you a quick update, the Ivory Coast has a chance in sudden death on the 11th penalty to win the African Cup of Nations. It would only be their second ever.
Why are you still listening to the show?
Title.
Go stream it online.
Hurry! Go watch it. No, it's too late by now. But
right. But anyway, let's talk about the match of the week. Yeah, Liverpool Spurs is our match of the week. There's no Premier League football on next weekend. There are matches on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Midweek games.
We have Liverpool Spurs on Tuesday. And
help us get through the week.
I think a little bit. And then on Hump Day, Wednesday, we have Southampton versus West Ham. A battle of teams who we didn't think would be this far up the table, except they are somehow at this point in the season.
The overachievers.
Yes. So how's AFCON doing right now? One last update.
Oh boy, we're waiting for the text from Vasi, because Vasi is the one that's updating.
Oh, he's been updating us.
He's been updating us.
Yeah, shout out to Vasi and shout out to Greg for keeping us updated during the show. That's it for this week on WNYU.org. Catch us next week at 4:30. The other football. Next up, we have the Guardian of the Arcane. It's a nice post-punk and chillwave goth music. Let's go.
Enjoy,
everyone. Thank you.
Oh my God, it was the goalie. Oh. We're still going on the broadcast.
I know.
Incredible. The goalie is about to shoot.
This is not just a dream.